Hello and welcome to the Steam Release Podcast. I am your host, Dewey Bear, and joining me today is the lovely, feeling a little blue maybe, the Ice Queen, Roadie Pie.
Hello.
She, believe it or not, she does actually have headphones on.
I do.
Yeah.
She's hiding.
They're magical headphones that only she can see. And joining me today as well is TheRadioTom.
Hello, man, she got how many qualifiers? Like the blue, the fantastic, like the Ice Queen. And I'm like, we got time.
The ever charming and dulcently voiced RadioTom.
It's over. Here, fine. I'll make it blue now.
Very blue.
Apparently, we only accept blue here.
Yeah. No, it's okay. You're always welcome. All right. So with that, we're here. We have a fantastic show. So we've not been out. We took a 2-week hiatus, so we have 3 weeks worth of games. So, but not basically hardly any games came out in the first 2 weeks, and most of them came out in this last week because it's a Christmas holiday, and believe it or not, indie devs do have family and friends who love them. so most of them we're not working or releasing games. And I would advise against, because like if you're releasing a game during the holiday weekend, it's like you're saying that like we know you have no friends or family that love you, and you're just gonna have no time but to play games. like why would you release a game during this period? But there were a handful of brave souls who did. And there were some that caught my eye. But before that, we actually have, some stuff to talk about. So, first of all, it's been a year. It's called 2020. Mm-hmm. It's been quite a year. Mm-hmm. But you know what? We're not going to talk about most of the year. We're just going to talk about indie games. Because even though, life... Just the world in general has been on fire. But the 2020, if you look away from AAA games, because there's been a lot of stuff in AAA that did not grow well this year. In the indie sphere, I think this was an excellent year.
Yeah, I'd say. Yeah. So there were definitely some like very nice games that came out in 2020.
Yeah, and it was in complete contrast because so the news, the game news doesn't really follow all the little small games. So I'm sure there was like mess ups, like Kickstarter promises that were not met, etc., etc. But in the AAA space, it seemed that every major release had some significant not so good thing to say about it. Just like every single time, it was like predictable this year. So it's been a rough year. There were still great games, but in the 2020 retrospective, I was looking back at all the games that came out, and I was surprised. I felt like this stuff came back. Wait, this was in 2020, and this was in 2020. It was shocking. It was shocking how many games actually came out this year. And on that topic, we're gonna just have a 2020 retrospective. These are honorable mentions, games that we thought were sort of impactful, whether we played them or not, but, stuff that really kind of defined 2020 for the indie sphere. So, you both have your list ready, right?
Yeah.
Okay, mm-hmm. So how do we want to do that? Do you want to do, like, each of us do one at a time, and then, or, okay, probably so one at a time. Okay, cool. So, starting, Rhodey, would you like to give your number 5?
Yeah, this is a game that caught my eye, although I have not played it yet. So this is Hive Swap Act 2.
There we go. Damn.
At least he's not barking. But yes, so I played Hive Swap Act 1, and this is about 2 people from different planets, and they've it is a point and click game, and they one gets transferred to the planet, the other gets transferred to the other. And this was it's based on the long-running webcomic, which I forget the name of. But
Homestruck.
That's it. Homestruck.
Yeah. Second I saw the images, like, oh yeah, this is from Homestruck.
Yeah. So it's been quite a while between Act 1 and 2. So I played Act 1, loved it. But I haven't gotten Act 2 yet because I think there's still another act to come out, and I want to get the whole thing and play it all in one go, because I've forgotten a lot of what's happened in Act 1. So it's like I don't want to replay Act 1 and then just Act 2 for them to, you know what I mean. But yeah, it's a really good point and click game, Act 1, so I imagine this is going to be much of the same.
Homestruck is kind of neat that it's being so perennial, because, I mean, there's a lot of things that were fads when I was a teenager, and, this was one of them. And it's kind of interesting to see it kind of come back, but in more of a game format, because I think it was webcomics back then was the main thing.
Yeah, it's a webcomic, yeah. Mm-hmm. And they did in between Act 1 and 2, they did do a visual novel as well. That you could play, so a visual novel that was released on Steam. I didn't pick it up myself, and the thing is, when Act 1 came out, someone's it was recommended to me on Steam, but one of my friends actually said, "Oh, you should really play this. Did you ever read Homestruck?" And it just wasn't. Homestruck just wasn't in my periphery. I don't think it was because, it's a little bit older, so it's like, it's one of those things that passed me by. So, yeah, but I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, most of the people I knew that read it were, I knew some teen girls that were really into it. So I just because there's only girls that I knew that are into it, I knew that guys were into it as well. But I only knew girls, so I was like, it's a girl thing, I guess. I just didn't know. And then, of course, you go to like any sort of nerd event or convention. There's a ton of cosplayers for Homestruck, and I was like, wow, this is really popular. And I don't know why, I just never checked it out. But yeah, it was very popular. And yes, Godless Weep, that we are talking about Hive Swap. Yep. Yeah. So, it's got some tracks by Toby Fox.
Ooh.
That is awesome. Toby Fox is a great musician. So yeah. That is Hive Swap. RadioTom, do you have one?
Yeah, my number 5 is a little game that no one has ever heard of. They also made one of the games that Rhodey's streaming right now, Murder by Numbers. Is the little popular game called Fall Guys. There's no way I couldn't mention this one. It's an indie game that blew the heck up. It made me actually like the multi-user battle royale is what the words I was trying to say, and it was charming. It was fun. Yeah, it died off for me a little quicker than some others, but at the same time, it actually made me enjoy the battle royale genre a little bit, and it was charming. It was fun. It came out in a time that a game like that was kind of needed, and really got into that one for a while. So there's no way I couldn't have Fall Guys mentioned.
And from what I understand, it's become a little less viral recently, but it still has a player base. Queues are still popping, and they've been successfully doing updates. So that's pretty impressive for such a small team.
Yeah, they're in season 3 right now, which just came out not too long ago, and you'll see it repop back up as the seasons come around. I don't think it's gonna have the staying power like some other games, but yeah, it was a 2020 release that I would have felt weird if we didn't mention just because of just sheer popularity. That game did quite well, so that's why I felt like I had to mention it.
Yep. This one was just a barrel of fun, and it's good. Yeah. All right, kind of on the edge of indie game category is my number 5 which is Death Stranding. This game, defies definition in a lot of ways, and it's one that I haven't gotten to play yet, but thankfully, Godless Weeb in the chat, thank you. He bought it for me for Christmas. I really appreciate that. I will be playing this eventually, but it kind of took the concept of traversing and walking and made a game out of that, and that is just so unique of a game that kind of edges into the AAA space, but it is a independent studio for the most part. Kojima Productions. This was definitely an impactful game in that it just kind of showed like what can you do when you just give someone, a madman, complete creative freedom. So, and that was Death Stranding for me. All right, Rhodey, what's your number 4?
Cloudpunk.
Cloudpunk. Oh, yes. There we go.
Ooh. Yeah, it's just you pick people up and you're a taxi driver basically, and you hear about like people's stories and trying to help them, or you trying to like steer them like a certain way, and you also got to drop them off as well to get them where they need to go. So it's a good and obviously you got to make deliveries too. So it's just like it's fantastic looking city, fantastic idea. I like the idea. I heard there are like some caveats. I haven't played it myself, but again, this is just something that's definitely popped up on my radar, and it's like something that I eventually going to pick up. So yeah, and it just it just ticks a lot of boxes for me, basically. But yeah, this the way it looks, its polish, I think it's like sticks out quite a bit from like a lot of these kind of games, these sort of like heavy narrative games.
It's sort of the mundane within the fantastic. That's always really cool. There's a lot of games like that. I like in a way, Coffee Talk is kind of like that too, where it's like, serving coffee with fantasy creatures. Completely. Yeah, that is really cool. Also, I never noticed that this is using a voxel art style. I didn't notice that the first time looking at these trailers because the lighting is so well done.
Yeah.
And then you get up closer and it's like, oh, these are voxel. All the assets are little voxels. That is, wow. That is interesting. Okay, Tom, what's your number 4?
My number 4 goes to a board game turned into a digital adaptation by the name of Root, RWT, where it's the asymmetrical war-ish game where there's the 4 different woodland factions trying to take control of the wild woods, and it's a board game that I wanted to try to learn and play with friends, but it is a daunting game to try to teach because every faction plays 100% differently. They may share cards, but those cards do very different things for each clan, so I was terrified of trying to do that. Then this came around and does a beautiful job of teaching how to play. The AI is actually really well done. I'm just very, very much of a fan of the art style is true to the board game itself as well. I thought Direwolf did a great job with not only the tutorial, the art style, how everything plays. They just did a great job with this one.
Yeah.
That's cute. It's so the woodland creatures, they look so cute. But they're deadly.
They are evil little SOBs. They really, really are.
I didn't really know much of what to make of this game. I think we talked about this on the podcast, but
yeah, we did. Yeah.
You weren't there that episode, I don't think. So I didn't know what to make of it, and now you've described it. It's on my wish list. So
good. Yeah. Let me know if you pick it up. Be happy to play around with you, and probably still get destroyed by the AI.
All right, my number 4 is Satisfactory. This game is still in early access, but games like Satisfactory, Factorio, and a few of these others like system building, automation type games, sort of took Twitch by storm. And though this is just way too daunting of a game for me to jump in, because I feel like if I sit down and start playing this, I'm gonna be there for 10 hours. And so but I do really enjoy watching people play these games. It's just so satisfying to see them like accomplish things. And yeah, I think this kind of just brought a new level of sim games that can sometimes fall into spreadsheet simulators instead. But these ones, graphically
I have over 100 hours in this game.
Wow.
Yeah, I and it's one of those I haven't played since one of the major updates because it kind of borked my system. But that's the joy of early access. Stuff like that happens. I'm like, I would have to restart my entire factory that I spent how many hours on. I'm good for now. Maybe once this comes back out of access. It's so well done. It's such a good game. So I'm happy you threw it on, even though I know this came out before, because it was over on Epic before it moved over to Steam. So I didn't even consider this one because I played it back in 2019. So yeah.
Yep. All right. And number 3, Rhodey.
So, The Complex.
The Complex.
The
there it
FMV gem. I think this came out at a very, very, it's very on the nose sort of time. So it's about an outbreak and. Yeah, there are some very difficult choices that you have to make, and who lives and who dies, sort of thing. So, but yeah, it's all done in like FMV style, which I really love. And there's also your decisions are timed, so you've got to pick one or the other within a certain amount of time. So there's that extra pressure on you as well.
2020 was a year when like FMVs that took themselves seriously really kind of like picked up, and where they were telling more serious narratives. Because I know in 2019 it was really popular, like those like the dating sims, FMVs.
There's been like quite a few like very serious ones. Like the guys who did this, they also did The Bunker, which came out like way back. It's like it's one of these genres that if you don't like kind of follow, you're not really. You don't really have like sort of an inkling of what's sort of going on, because they don't get as much kind of exposure as a lot of other games. But there's been like definitely in the last 10 years this genre has really like grown, and they've been like in the last 10 years that very serious sort of storytelling. Yeah,
they've gotten a lot of exposure in 2020. I think a lot that's helped a lot of genres on and off Steam, just because you have a more captive audience this year. But just for this one, the story's pretty on the nose with an outbreak, but they completely filmed this in 2019. I'm like 90% positive. So
it was timing on their part.
There's multiple games that ended up like that. So
yeah, it looks good. I haven't played it myself, but it's definitely on my wish list.
Wales Interactive is pretty. They're one of the big players in the FMV space.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Tom.
Hey, my number 3 is this is going over to a little game that's a little on the nose for me, but it's the Radio General. I mean, the name alone, and the reason why, so I played this one. I did a video on it. I think my review video is up on YouTube right now. I'd have to recheck. But it is how the voice, or the voice command of this game, it was my draw into it. Of you are sitting in a tent looking at a map, you have a radio, and you are just moving pieces along to like try to take care of tactical strategy situations. And the actual gameplay itself is, you can kind of cheese it a little bit, in all honesty. Like, I was just sitting there like, status report, status report, status report, and instead of just letting stuff play out, letting stuff happen. But I don't know, just feeling like you're sitting there actually talking to different troops, everything going on. I loved it. It was a different mechanic that I was a fan of. And it was responsive. It played well, and even if it didn't, there was like a backup option where you could just kind of click certain commands, which was nice. They also used actual footage, story, and everything going on from World War II. And I'm not a big World War II like fanatic. I don't tend to get into war strategy, even though like I have had 2 games here in a row that are warlike. In a sense, with Root and now this, but it's just that the gimmick alone is why I had to throw this in. It was unique, it was fun, and something I hope we see more of in the future.
I had trouble finding it because you said the Radio General. There was something about the name, and I was like, so I had to get rid of the to find it.
But seeing I'm the RadioTom, yeah. I was like, the Radio General. Hello.
Yep. Yeah, this is sort of going into like the new ways to play, because I mean, there have been games that have used microphone inputs, like audio inputs, before. It's not new. It's been around for a very long time, but usually it's been used as a gimmick in most cases. And here it's like that is the game. You use your mic, use your words, and it's just it's cool to see it. It's cool to see it get experimented a bit with more and kind of push the limits of what that gameplay can do. Yeah, that's just awesome. All right, my number 3 is Fae Tactics. Yeah, this one is I have it in my library. I've not really had much time to play it yet. I've been watching streams though, getting off like, oh no, this is spoilers, so I better like turn it off. But just the sort of return of tactics, and in 2019, of course, Fell Seal came out, which I didn't play until this year, and Fell Seal is fantastic. I'm just super eager to play this, and it's neat that all the kids who grew up loving Final Fantasy Tactics are like, oh, there hasn't been a Final Fantasy Tactics in forever. I guess I gotta make one. and you're just seeing multiple of these types of games that come out and just take Steam by storm. So, yep, Fae Tactics. All right, Rhodey, you're number 2.
So, I like a good detective game. So, Paradise Killer is my number 2. This one was on, I think.
You like detective games?
I think this was on a lot of people's radar. It's got like very, very positive, like overwhelmingly positive reviews, and it's very, very different. As in, it's 3D, so you're going around like this 3D landscape and everything, and like you questioning everyone. And it's one of those games where you have to be at a certain place at a certain time to make sure you catch like sorts of like evidence or an event happening. So if people ever played like Colonel's Bequest, it's a bit like that. You have to be at a certain place at a certain time. So yeah, it's all
the time in the world.
I have heard some criticisms like the places like you're walking through and everything like that, they're kind of like is like a bit barren or something. It feels like no one lives in that city or something. It's a city, but you're just walking through like there's no one there, sort of thing. It's a bit strange. It's a bit strange walking through it. But other than that, apparently it's very enjoyable. It's a very enjoyable game. So I haven't played it. It is on my wish list. I might give it a go eventually.
I would probably be pretty forgiving of this because it just feels like it's a visual novel that they gave you sort of a more interactive traversal experience instead of flipping pages or like clicking back to the map and clicking this location. Oh, you're here at this panel, so it lets you kind of travel between panels. And in which case, it's like, I mean, it's not really trying to be sort of that open world simulation. So yeah, I'd be pretty forgiving of that. Right, RadioTom, what's your number 2?
Actually, one that I haven't played, surprisingly, making my list is one that I've wanted to. I've seen a few of our friends stream this. Is Cardo. Yep, the charming adventure game wrapped around a unique world-altering puzzle mechanic. It just looks so charming, and I really at some point want to give this a go. It's been recommended to me by folks. I've seen it. I want to give it a whirl. It looks so cute. So cute. Reminds me of a colorful, happier version of Don't Starve. Like just how the world looks and all that, and movement around it, but not as depressing or as Tim Burton-y. So everything not that. Anyway.
Oh yeah, this one is like on my wish list as well. I just love the way you can like take a piece of the map and just like put a cube there, and so you can continue on. It looks so good.
Yeah, it's so cute. It looks so cute. But I know one of the things I heard was it's a touch short. At least from what I've heard from folks. So I was like, okay, but I want to say it's available on Game Pass right now, so I might have to give it a shot that way. I know we do Steam here, but that's still it's still a good deal.
Xbox has been pretty good for indies, especially with Game Pass. So
Game Pass is just it's a hard deal not to pass up. Hey, Microsoft, you can pay me for plugging it. Maybe a month or two. Huh?
I almost feel like my number 2 is on a similar vein. Cardo almost made my list for the 2020 retrospective, but instead my number 2 was Townscaper.
Ooh,
come on, load. You can load. I know you can. There we go. So this is also an early access game. I've been watching it be developed on Twitter for a very long time. Just kind of watching Oscar, the developer, just sort of figure out like how to make a system just work so intuitively, so you can just click and I want this here, and just everything comes together in this sort of beautiful mosaic of this town or village you want to make. And it's just fantastic. It's so calming and peaceful. And I'm so glad that this came out in early access now. It's so nice. But yeah, Townscaper. Just beautiful. All right, and now we're up to the number 1. Now, just so everyone knows, we do have our Game of the Years. That is going to be after we talk about the release list, but this is our retrospective, games that left an impression this year. So, but with our number 1, Rhodey.
So, this is like a very little like point and click game that I put on my wish list, and I will eventually play. It's called The Supper. So yeah, it's beautifully drawn, very sort of like creepy sort of atmosphere, and it's just an intriguing little story that goes a bit gruesome. But the character designs are just amazing, and this one is free.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, there's so much effort and design and that's been put into this, and it's just it was like I've been wanting to pick this up and play it for quite a while, and the developer, like, they just usually do like these nicely drawn like point and click games. So yeah, this is free, so if people want to like pick this up, it's, you know, definitely give this a go.
And it's only like half an hour to an hour long, depending on how fast you go through it. So yeah check it out. If you're up to something that's going to be a little bit gruesome.
Yeah, and it's like it's been very popular. You know, I shouldn't be surprised. But this is one of their they've put out quite a few games, especially on itch.io. But this one has really like picked up traction.
All right, Tom, what's your number one?
So my number one, it would have made my other list that we got coming up later, but it's only because it's in early access. You know it, I love it. It's not for broadcast. I freaking love that game. And even everything going on within the pandemic world that we live in, they still try to make content in this FMV stress simulator. In the veins of like Papers, Please, and this last update that we played through had a little bit of Five Nights at Freddy's vibes to it, and I really hope that they're not sliding completely to the horror side of life. I hope they keep it still that stress simulator humor, and luckily it was, even with a little bit of horror, it wasn't that terrible. I got a little worried while streaming, like, oh no, what has this turned into? Please don't completely go this route.
Don't scare me, please.
I don't want this. But at the same time, like what they did, what they threw in, I love it. It's great. It's a blast. I can't recommend it more to people. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, and I'm talking a mile a minute about this game, but I really like it. I enjoy it.
The telephone was amazing.
Oh my god, yeah.
So
that was
good.
Just, oh my god, that telethon was it was so over the top good. And it was lengthy too. I was surprised how long it was. I think like each segment was like 15 minutes each for like 45 minutes of like FMV stress content. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But so good. So yeah, that's my number one on my honorable mentions, retrospective, whatever we called it.
It is really cool with this kind of taking FMV. I'm almost like putting FMV inside a box where it's like it takes the genre and then puts it into something where it's like, this is almost like the real life version of that. Like, just it's just very interesting. Very clever usage of FMV.
Yeah, hands down. It's kind of why Radio General made it on for me. It was a unique take on stuff and the mechanics of everything going on. But it's still, the story is funny. It's one that when you're playing, it's hard to pay attention to the story and everything going on, because it's like, oh my god, I'm freaking out at everything going on. But eventually you look back on it going, oh my god, this was good. This was real good. So yeah, that's my number one. Hey Dewey, what you got going on in your number one?
My number one is Risk of Rain 2. Which is, of course, roguelike. Anyone who knows me, that's right up my alley. But it's also took a 2D action platformer roguelike and turned it into a 3D action roguelike. And that is just a very cool transition. And they did it while still kind of maintaining the aesthetic somehow. So it's still like it feels like the 3D version of the 2D game. It just does. It's very recognizable. It's got this fantastic soundtrack, and I really need to play it because I haven't yet. I've seen a lot of people stream it. I've got friends that love it. I need to get on this bandwagon, but I've been playing other roguelikes, and as you know, they're kind of a time sink. So, but yeah, this is definitely on my soon to play list for 2021. Yeah. And with that, we, of course, at the Steam Release Podcast, we dig through the release list so that you don't have to, and we find all those fantastic gems.
Are we going to talk about what we played this week?
Oh, yeah, we should do that too. Yeah, so what we should also do, yeah, is what we played. Okay, so this week, what did you play, Rhodey?
Right, so I finally finished Reventure. I got all the achievements, all 101 achievements. It was a struggle, but I managed to do it, and that game had just grown and grown and grown on me, and I can't wait to see what they come out with next. I think they have they're very funny guys. It's quite a funny game, and it's just there were so many surprising things in there, and yeah, I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I recommend this for anyone to pick up. It's a fairly cheap game, but it brought like quite a few hours. I played like 17 hours of it. So, and it's how much is it? It's like
$7.99 US.
Yeah, it's like $4.99 like UK, so you know it's next to nothing really. So there was that, and then I finally finished Murder by Numbers, and I thought I was very, very close to the end with Murder by Numbers on my previous session, but no, I was not. I still had like another 4 hours. I was on the last case. The last case, and it was just like, oh my god, this is never ending. I mean, everything got wrapped up in a neat little bow, but it was still like, no. There needs to be better editing, and this is one of the reasons has not made it to like my top list. Like, so but I'm glad to finish that, and you can actually go back in and like complete the puzzles. I got like A's on all the cases, but apparently you can get S rank as well, and I was like, what? Huh? But I thought I did all the puzzles. But yeah, you can go back in and do some more Pix Cross puzzles if you feel like it. And then, so I also played The Adventures of Fat Man, and it was hilarious. Although the point and click like puzzles of it were not so great. I keep getting stuck on it. This is one I'm not been streaming. I've just been like picking through by myself, and it's just you play Fat Man, who's just like very lazy. There's been this explosion at these labs, and instead of going there straight away to find out what happened, he says, oh no, I'll just sleep on it. And then of course he can't get in because the police have cordoned off the crime scene. So I'm still on the point of trying to find my way in, and it's like very sort of, I've got to deliver a pizza, I've got to find some donuts, got to find some coffee, got to do this, but there's a lot of humor in there, so it's been quite interesting. But I keep putting it down because I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do next, or what I'm stuck and I'm trying to figure out what action I'm supposed to do.
Is it cursed with moon logic at all?
Yeah, a bit, yeah. So there's that, and then I played Wattam, Wattam. I started it, so that's one of the ones we spoke about. like last week or a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, a few weeks ago. So yeah, this is very interesting. There's like nice narrative going through it. They don't like just I thought maybe it's just like a matching up sort of game, but there's this nice sort of like narrative going through, and it's just like everyone's really cute, and it's just delightful. It's just delightful and happy, and it was very, very nice. I also played and finished Little Mouse's Encyclopedia. So this is one that we spoke about on the podcast like way back, and it's there's definitely one to show your children, and to get them learning about the natural world and everything. And it gives like very detailed, not overly detailed, but detailed enough about the things that you can click on, like the animals and the plants and the birds and everything. It gives like how you're seeing how they live, and it's just really nice interactive encyclopedia. And they've just recently released achievements just after I picked it up and finished it. they just brought out achievements, and going through the whole thing, it only took 19 minutes. So yeah.
Oh, wow.
But obviously, if you're sitting with your kids, it would take you a lot longer. There are like 4 different like biospheres sort of thing that you can go through. And then I played that trilogy, The Test, because we saw like they recently released like the final revelation or something, and it was and we're wondering what all that was about. So I played like The Test, the Hypothesis Rising, and for the final revelation. So I played them all, and they're very interesting games. They're basically just asking you questions about like and it's basically to get you to sort of like know yourself. So you can take as long as you want like to answer the questions, but and eventually they're going to bring out an RPG, because the people that are asking the questions, they're all part of some bigger story, apparently. So yeah, there was that, and just 2 more games that I played. So I played Family Mysteries 3, Criminal Mindset. So that trilogy I've now completed. I have to say though, the first one was the best one. They're not like interlinked. They're not interlinked at all, like any of those 3 stories. And this one was like it's one of those ones that kind of like set in a lab sort of thing, and it was you're a scientist, and someone had stolen your family's research or something. You were carrying on their research, and someone wants to buy it. So yeah, it's not nowhere near as clever as the first one. The first one was just gold, and the second one was just weird, and this one was just meh. And then I played Persian Knights 2, which was honestly kind of forgettable. It was okay, but I can't really say I was that bothered about it, really. So yeah, I played it a good amount over the holidays. What about you? What about you, RadioTom?
Wait, what? Sorry.
What games have you played this week?
So this week I can't talk about. But 2 of the games I played this week, one of them I've got an NDA on during a beta test.
Ooh, sexy!
When it comes out, I'm super excited for this one. I was happy I got in on the beta. Blah 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 blah. I'll skip over that one, and the other one that I now have over 33 plus hours in, and I just picked up the game this week.
I know what this is.
I'm not talking about it because it may be on my top 3.
Ooh,
So welcome to a boring segment of what I've played this week. But the one thing I'll talk about, and sadly you won't have a video to throw up, is a board game that Mom and I have been playing the daylights out of. It is the Zombicide Night of the Living Dead game. It has been an absolute blast to play, with one exception. I actually got really mad at one of the scenarios. The game only has 10 scenarios, and one of the scenarios, it said it would take an hour at a medium difficulty, and Mom and I beat it in 3 turns. And we tried it again, and also we were able to beat it in 2 turns the second time. So I was like, what did we miss? How is this supposed to be hard? Why is this a scenario? Did you not play test this? Come on now. But we've been playing that a lot this week. So that's the one I can actually talk about for this segment.
All right. Well, let me see. For me, one of the games that I've got all but 2 of the achievements on, I also can't talk about because it's going to be in my top 3 this week. But let me see, what else did I play? Oh, that's right. Yes, there it is. Okay, that's right. All right, I had to remember the name. Ultimate Chicken Horse. I did play. This game is like a friendship destroyer. It's you can be so sassy in this game. It's stupid. Like just the things that you can do to like mess with people.
It's so good.
It's fantastic. And I could barely, and I can never remember the name of it because Ultimate Chicken Horse. Is it Ultimate Horse Chicken? Ultimate Raccoon Horse? I just keep forgetting. But so you play all these little animals. And the best part of the game is each of them have these unique little like death cries when you like fall off the map or get hit in a trap and such. And they're the cutest sounds. like the sheep is like meh. Like just this like long like all of them just have these fantastic little death sounds. And
they do have individual unique victory dances, so it's not all death and murder either.
Yeah, they do. There's also these, it's just super charming. And there's tons of unlockables. So you start out with only a certain set of maps, but then as you play it with people, there's a progression system. So you unlock a bunch of new maps. There's a modding scene, so you can get custom maps. It's a really great game. Online multiplayer. Highly recommend you pick this up. If you just are looking for a sort of game that you can just do some party playing. Another party game I played this week I also can't talk about. So we will talk about that at the end of the show when we do our Game of the Years. So
wow, two games you can't talk about this week. Now I'm curious. And a party game made one of the 3. Okay.
Yep.
I'm curious about this one.
Alrighty. And yeah, I think that's it. That's all I can talk about. So, all right. With that, we can go on to our hidden gems. What are the games that came out and were just so awesome? I'm looking forward to showing you guys what those games are. So, starting with Monday, December 21st, our first game is Gravulse.
Welcome to Gravulse, an innovative space curvature laboratory that is trying to flip the laws of physics, literally. Here you have to go through many test levels, including various new technologies.
This is another one of those Portal-likes, I would call them. It's just it uses, it's a different gimmick. But it looks nice. They don't abuse lighting or like. And they're pretty conservative with how they do their assets, so it looks nice. It just looks nice. And yeah, it's developed by Jekuri and Verkme. I don't know, I wasn't able to find any information about Verkme, but Jekuri is from Astrakhan, Russia, and his real name is Evgeny Kalgushkin, and his VK VK is the Russian social media, basically equivalent of Facebook. His VK account says that he is his relationship status is actively looking. So if you're single in Astrakhan, there's a single developer looking for love. So
you may attempt to reverse your laws of singularity. I'm so sorry. I'll see myself out.
That was really terrible.
Hi everybody, that's me for the week.
All right. So yeah, this one looks nice. It's only $4.99.
It's like really nicely. It looks really nice, nicely polished. It's like $3.99. How long is it?
I've been trying to figure that out, but I'm seeing anywhere between 3, 10, 6. So it seems to have, it seems to be probably $4 worth, at least, of time. So
okay.
And I may even chip in the extra 99 cents, not just the $4.
Oh, yeah. Indeed. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't seem like a particularly short game based on the reviews.
Yeah, surprising for the cost, and it looks decent.
Oh, we have a Zar owns it, so yeah, I really want to know. Like,
Oh, Zar's got it?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna have to kind of ask them. All right, but yeah, that is Gravulse. Our next title from Christmas Day, Friday, December 25th, is OMORI.
Explore a strange world full of colorful friends and foes. When the time comes, the path you've chosen will determine your fate, and perhaps the fate of others as well.
The development of this game is weird. The developer is not a game dev; they are a fashion label. OmoCat. So it started with OmoCat was started by a single artist, and it's now a group of artists in the United States who basically just drew a particular aesthetic, and it's mostly clothing, purses, and they get their designs drawn on purses, clothing, and various other accessories. And so it's mostly a fashion label. But they decided to release a game this year on Christmas. So I guess advertising for clothing?
So they're the ones that think we have no family?
Oh, maybe. But yeah, their clothing looks pretty cool actually, so they got me to look at it. But it's just an odd thing, and apparently it's also a very good game. So that's another thing that surprised me. 2,600 reviews, 98% positive.
So it's also like quite long as well. It's I'm seeing like some people, quite a few people have like 30 hours clocked in on there, and it's like, what? So because I was thinking £15.49, I thought that was high. It was quite a lot, but yeah, it's quite a long game.
I know.
I do quite like the art style, but there are certain things that make the game look very flat and just doesn't as aesthetically pleasing. But
it's also in the genres of psychological horror. and horror. So it's just really, horror kind of makes sense because looking at some of the art that they do have something that's kind of like, it's cute, but it's also kind of like edgy, creepy art. That seems to be one of their aesthetics. But yeah, if you want to check out their art label, just go to OmoCat and you can see what they do, and it's just it just perplexes me. It's like if Louis Vuitton came out with a game next year and it was a really good game that didn't have to do with purses, and you're just kind of confused, like, what?
I do wonder if there's like a side quest or something where you do have to pick up like different purses or something.
I do wonder. Gotta wonder. And we have Za is saying that, it feels like one of his friends have been playing it. Yeah, Gucci Roguelike 2022. I feel like it could be called like Gucci Gang, and it could be just about like gangsters in like New York, and it's a roguelike. That would be fantastic.
Man, see, man, look at my fantasy, man.
Gucci roguelike, that would be great.
Gucci.
All right, kickstart it now. Someone.
Oh, I see. So a lot of their like apparel, it's not like those constructed bad. They just do like tote bags, but those tote bags are like their sort of like put their art on the tote bags.
Yeah.
So everything that they kind of do, it's kind of like they're not creating like the construction of the clothing isn't like anything different. Really, it's just like kind of sweaters or t-shirts or this, that, and the other. Yep. But the art, they put like the art on it is what you're really buying. Yeah.
It's not like they're manufacturing the clothing. I think they probably get it manufactured in like Indonesia or something. But the whole thing is like their aesthetic that they add to it. This whole thing. Yep. Very interesting. But I suppose not that crazy. If you already have the art chops, then it's like, oh, well, I guess I want to make a game. All right, so that is OMORI. Now, Monday, December 28th, which is my baby sister's birthday, the game The Dream of Shadowlands came out.
The first episode of an indie horror RPG series with a hand-drawn visual styles inspired by 90s anime.
You don't say. That is very 90s anime.
What am I supposed to do then? Just resign myself to
this? Sort of, I like some of it, but then it went on to sort of like the fight sequences, and it was just like, oh no, I don't like the look of it now.
Yeah. I kind of feel like it should have just stayed kind of in the point and click area and not tried to do a combat system. I mean, kudos. This is developed by a solo dev, Katazawa Game Dev. But yeah, I feel like, the combat doesn't seem that engaging, and I feel like a sort of puzzle, or like perhaps there's a different puzzle gimmick to each boss would have been more interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, the artwork looks neat. I feel like this. I'm trying to remember what the name of that anime was. I feel like I know what anime this person really liked as a kid in the 90s. I can't remember the name.
Inuyasha vibe.
Inuyasha, that's what I was kind of thinking. Yeah. Like I was thinking Inuyasha. Inuyasha and maybe a little bit of Slayers. So yeah.
But this game is free.
Yep.
There's already a page on the side for episode 2.
Yeah.
Let me see, episode 2. I'm trying to find that. The Dream of Shadowlands. Yep, episode 2. There we go. Yep, late 2021. So yeah, they're actively developing the second episode. So that's very cool. Alrighty, so our next title after that is season appropriate, I guess. Eggnog Incorporated.
And I feel like if it would have came out top of December, not like just after Christmas.
I think they missed a deadline, probably.
Yeah, enjoy working as an eggnog inspector for a shady company. Verify the color, art, ingredients for batches of eggnog. Not glamorous, but it's an honest living. Who knows what surprises are in store for you?
Forbidden eggnog? Sketchy eggnog?
Oh my god.
The forbidden nectar of the Santa gods.
So this is another kind of Papers, Please kind of game, but like there's some weird, shady shit going on.
You're getting bribed to pass like eggnogs when, like, yeah, this is safe, and they secretly didn't follow regulation, so it's got E. coli.
E. coli. Sorry.
Yep.
So it's only £5.19. So yeah, I'm quite curious about this. I would love to watch someone play this.
Yeah.
$6.99. The one downside, compared to Papers, Please, you can't have like. So there's this Ukrainian guy who plays it in Russian, and it's just like it's just fascinating listening to him roleplay as a guard, like in Russian, playing Papers, Please, which feels like, well, I feel like this would be as exciting with a Russian host.
It might be, yeah. I'm kind of with you. I am wondering how quick paced this game is, especially because like Papers, Please, it's like, oh my god, move quick, move now. So I'm curious how much of that is kind of translated into this, especially when you can tell they're definitely going more comedy than what Papers, Please being kind of a dark dystopian. So I'm curious enough to almost pick this up. I wish listed to maybe give it a shot down the road.
Yep.
They've intrigued me enough.
I mean, what's more intriguing than dangerous eggnog? Big eggnog. It's just very intriguing.
Oh my god.
All right, and not gonna say sorry. I do love eggnog. It is one of my favorite things about Christmas, but it really puts it on the hips. So I've got to be careful about it. But man, I miss eggnog. It's already gone from the stores.
That's why we only do face cams here, buddy.
Yeah. All right.
The only show where you wonder if we're wearing pants.
Oh, that's every Twitch streamer. You just assume that they're not. All right.
Good point.
Tuesday, December 29th is Papa's Quiz.
Papa's Quiz is a party game for 1 to 8 players. Use phones or tablets as controllers and compete in multiple question types where the smartest and fastest player will be the last standing victor. Share screen on Discord or use Steam Remote Play to play with your friends.
I'm surprised this one's not being picked up more, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's got the nice sort of remote play where, you know, anyone can pick it up if they've got like a mobile phone or, you know, tablet or whatever. So you've got, I'm surprised because it seems like a nice way to get more people playing and everything.
Yeah.
It is $11.99, but that's still cheaper than Jackbox usually is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is £9.29, so yeah.
Let me see.
I wonder if there's a fear of servers not holding in there. Where, because I mean, obviously you're going to have to connect to a server at some point to get your, like the phones, tablets. I'm wondering if it's because they're maybe not a known trusted source, if it's just one of those things that might creep people out a little bit. I'm in speculation.
Yeah, some people say it's not as polished as some of the Jackbox trivia games, and so some people's list like the things that they could do to improve the game. It says get rid of the dancing between rounds. We never used it, and it slowed the game down. Have the answers on the device the players on using it, as well as the main screen to get around some latency issues. Since the game is using text-to-speech options for the voicing, some options changed to different voices would be nice. Adding in a few different topic selector games, moving the cursor around is fine, but it would be good to have some variation.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's the little guy trying to kind of edge in on the Jackbox space, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
Almost down from more variety. It looks fun. The weird little potato people weird me out a little bit, but it's still kind of like cute in that. It's still kind of cute in that Fall Guys way.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Wednesday, December 30th is Bunny Hop.
A simply yet challenging 2D platforming game based in a world of exploration and hope.
Ominous.
But it's hope, and you're a bun.
You're a bunny.
Bunny.
So this is one of those sort of, I think it's like you hold down, builds up energy, and then you do the jump. So it's one of these sort of climb, and I think you can fall a long ways if you do it wrong. I'm pretty sure it's one of those types of games.
There's some interesting like background art and everything. I just wonder actually how interesting it is to play, because they don't show an awful lot in the trailer.
Yeah. You can get a Fez hat. at some point you get a Fez hat. But yeah, it is nice pixel art. It's not particularly I'm just not getting a lot of information from the trailer or screenshots.
No.
Let's see. Multiple biomes.
Let's see. I was wondering how many stages there are. I'm not seeing about 2 to 3 hours of gameplay.
All right, so according to one of the reviews, it can be finished in one stream, and they played 2.8 hours. So yeah, it's like Jump King with fewer levels and with a cuter avatar. And yeah. So there is a respawn point, but it's usually 2 to 3 stages before where you fell.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay. It's £5.79. So
yeah, $7.99
US.
That is Bunny Hop, December 30th.
Bunny Hop.
Thursday, December 31st, New Year's Eve, comes the game Without My Arms.
Short but really challenging game about reaching the top of a tower by jumping exclusively with your tongue. So another one of these. Okay.
It's so grotesque. And the funny thing is, the developer Killer Coon, so he's from Mexico City, Mexico. His portfolio is amazing. He's got these gorgeous portraits of people that are just he was probably using a live model, but just the person is just the art is so beautiful. And then this, and I'm like, what? I get that you can't do that sort of art style for an entire game. It would be way too labor intensive. But just why do you have such gorgeous art in your portfolio? And this is just it's not bad looking, but it's kind of just so grotesque.
This is the same guy that did Planet Bash, which we spoke about in November.
Yep, it is.
That's crazy. It's already got another game out.
Yeah. A little over a month later, so... Oh, yeah. A little over a month later, my word.
The police are after you.
The Popo have found you, so... All right, but yeah, that is this is Without My Arms. It looks kind of fun, a bit more platformy. It's not like the jump. It's not quite like Bunny Hop, where it's all this vertical thing, and then you just can fall forever. This one definitely seems more you can fall a pretty long ways, but yeah, it feels a bit more like a platformer. My word.
It's £2.09, so I guess it's not that long. Although I'm seeing various times.
Yeah, y'all are getting robbed because it's $2.99 US.
Yeah. Yep, $2.99. That's it. So, Without My Arms. I think this is also one of those suffering games, though. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you fall, getting over it with Bennett Foddy, and you're just well, my life's over. All right, and then a huge gap to our next title is The Fang on Tuesday, January 5th.
A daring wanderer wields his weapons in real time, battling through his quest into the unknown.
Black and white pixel art. Just real, straight up black and white pixel art. And it looks actually really good. It kind of emphasizes the sort of the oppressive atmosphere. You feel it's you're sneaking around at nighttime because everything's black and white like this.
Yeah, and there's still enough details on everything to make it stand out and not just look kind of cheaply, quickly done. It just there's still detail to it.
Is it? I have to say that it's not my favorite though. It's I don't know. It's not it's not something that appeals to me. I can see, you see they put a lot of work and effort into it, definitely, but yeah.
Personally, I am more of a color person, but it is quite impressive what they're able to do with just black and white pixel art. It's because oftentimes it just kind of becomes hard to read, and it's hard to tell where things are or what's happening. And this one seems very readable, so it's very functional, very readable, and I do like that. It is also 50% off right now. It's only $3.39.
It's $2.45 here.
Yep.
I'm glad the game's readable, but I never learned how to read.
And the developer is Sea Laboratory.
He's not putting up with my jokes today. You make one bad joke earlier and he shuts you down.
You need some good material, man. All right.
I know. I'm starting 2021 off wrong, man.
Oh, well, it's early. There's still a long way to fall. I'm sorry. Just me? I'm sitting here roasting poor Tom. Just sitting here roasting him. Anyhow, our next game is Death Ski by Fortcullis Games. So
I'm on strike.
Oh, okay. All right. So basically, this is one of those. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yep. No. I'm interrupting you now. A retro skiing adventure, slalom courses, time trials, and more. Avalanches, charging deer, packs of wolves, grizzly bears, chainsaw wielding maniacs, and psychotic goats await you on the deadly slopes.
I don't know about you, but this sounds like my ski vacations. So. It's basically like one of those old like Sega Genesis ski games, but much more gruesome.
There's one in particular that feels really like this, even like with the deer and other skiers getting in the way. And I'm blanking on the name of it.
No, I can't remember. But yeah, it definitely has that feel. And it's good. It's fairly cheap with 25% off right now at £2.16, and there are 60 challenging levels of retro skiing action.
That's a lot of content.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see that they don't have to make a lot of assets. Like they had a certain set of sprites and a certain set of assets, and then they figured out a way how to lay it out differently for each level. So that's not too unbelievable. This is what older games usually did, and this is why they could be so much longer than a lot of newer games. Because a lot of newer games, you feel like you have to do a new set of assets for each level, which, by the way, is generally a good thing. But in pixel art, I feel like you can just make pixel art arcade games. You can just kind of rearrange things, and it's okay. This developer also made, back in December 4th, 2019, they also made Blades of Glory, which is a RPG game, also with a similar sort of retro style.
That's good.
So yeah, this dev really likes the sort of hard retro. And they were like, okay, it needs to look like it was actually on the Sega Genesis. So yeah, $2.99, not bad. Our next title for Tuesday, January 5th is Cobra Kai. The Karate Kid saga continues.
Choose a side, master your moves, and embrace your destiny in an epic beat-em-up adventure inspired by the hit show. Take control of 8 playable characters with deep movesets, combos, progression, real-time character swaps, ultimate attacks, and much more.
Pay for this.
Oh my god, I love the Karate Kid. So, but obviously this isn't my kind of game, but it's and someone did say in the review, I thought maybe this was going to be like just sort of like a cash grab, but actually it turned out really, it was probably really good. Yeah, so
it's got 97% positive with 68 reviews. So yeah, I would say it passed the muster. These sort of TV/movie tie-in games, it's right to be generally suspicious of them, but I feel like that reputation has sort of, it's not super applicable anymore, because at least for the last 4 or 5 years, most studios don't really do game tie-ins that much anymore. It's just not that much of a thing. I think it's because they saw that revenues were kind of bad and people knew what's up. And so now it's more like, hey, let's just get some tiny indie dev just to make something as a way to promote the movie. But, you know, it actually ends up that one was pretty well received because it was an actual game. Yeah. And I feel like this sort of stuff has become a lot more common where, you know, tie-ins are actually good.
Yeah, thank you, LJN, for ruining it for the rest of us back in the day. But yeah, and it's one of those, like, I've not watched the Cobra Kai TV show. I know it's available on Netflix. I do want to give it a shot at some point, but is it? It's fun. It looks nice. Not anything I'm gonna pick up. Which kind of said I like beat 'em ups. I actually really do. But meh.
I don't know if your Twitch is messing up, but mine's messing up.
Uh-oh, let me see. Oh yeah, look at that. Let me refresh. Is it going through? No, is Twitch going down? Please don't.
Is it going down again?
No, I'm refreshing. Let me see.
Yeah,
oh no,
mine won't refresh. I think there's something going on.
Yeah, it's still live for me, but there's buffering. It keeps buffering.
Yeah. It keeps breaking up, so I don't know if he
might want to give it a minute or two.
Yeah, just in case there's going to be, you know,
a big outage.
YouTube. Yeah.
No, on Thursday, my stream was only an hour long because like Twitch completely cut, and it looked like I was still streaming, no dropping frames and all that too. It just took someone saying, "Hey, I think something's going on." Like, thank you for telling me. Otherwise, I would have just kept going.
There have been a lot of DDoS attacks happening, so I know Amazon's in particular has been being targeted. So, and of course, Twitch is part of Amazon server infrastructure. So, yeah, I don't know. This might be one of those. No, because I was curious when I saw you noted that like, well, Twitch is down. I was like, really? Twitch was down, just straight up down. But
I'm just looking, and we're all like frozen in place or something. So you might want to, when you upload this, you might want to like do an edit where it's where it doesn't mess up.
It's looking. Let me see. Is it looking smooth for me yet? Use the low latency toggle. Let me see. Is this using low latency? Yeah, it's saying live, unstable, poor network.
I'm keeping an eye on the Twitch support Twitter page.
Oh yeah, I'm getting 200 megabits per second, so it's not me.
Yeah. It looks like it's back on now. I'm hoping it's back on.
Yep.
'Cause it's
Yep. It's on again. Okay. Looks like we are. The show is back on the road.
Yay!
So it's gonna be.
Twitch was just mad that you were making fun of my terrible jokes.
Sorry, Twitch gods.
That's all it was.
But yeah, this is £13.59 with 15% off. So yeah.
Yep.
Worth picking up.
Yeah, $16.99 US. All right, and of course, as we have Za mentioned, he said that there's still the awful Ice Age platformer, so we should still be suspicious of movie tie-ins. So, all right, cool. Our next title is from Wednesday, January 6th, Oh crap, that's the wrong key. RUSALOK.
Russia in the 90s. Provincial town, at the edge of the crumbling Soviet Empire. Group of kids faces the disturbing horror they are unable to comprehend. The RUSALOK. Capitalized. That's my rule. This is a place where the worst nightmares come true.
This seems like a cheerful game.
Oh yeah.
It's developed by Yakov Butuzofi. And it looks like it is their first game. It has a VK. Let me see. It is all in Russian, of course. Let me see. Yep.
This looks like a very odd game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm
I
not.
like the Terminator posters in the background. They're a very big fan of Arnold movies and the looks of it.
Yeah, the sort of weird. It's like it's got this sort of like weird. The characters don't look like they're because the backgrounds are pixel art. The characters are not pixel art. So that's one thing that's a little off-putting to me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what the aim of the game is supposed to be. What your goal is.
All right. A provincial in Russia in the 1990s, a provincial town in the outskirts of the crumbling Soviet Empire, a big yard where many kings hang out. They make friends, fight and reconcile, love and hate, but mostly just play. Life goes on as usual until one kid mysteriously goes missing. Dum dum dum. And the rest of the group has to face the horror they are unable to comprehend. The Dom RUSALOK. This is a place where the worst nightmares come true. Follows the traditions of the great works by Stephen King and Robert Stein. Okay. A story about children who have to face a disturbing horror. Only this is not take place in cozy suburban America, but at cellars, basements, and yards of provincial 1990s Russia.
Alright, so this is it, but set in Russia then.
Yep.
Basically.
Basically.
Okay.
It's got fairly positive reviews, so I guess it's just it's an atmospheric adventure, so a horror point and click. Yeah, point and click is one of the genres.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's £7.19. I don't know. Although I like point and click games, I'm not the biggest fan of horror, and it's I don't know. It has its own had its own art style, but I'm not sure I like the way it looks. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I love the backgrounds. I do really like the backgrounds, but I'm not a fan of the character foregrounds. And I get that it's provincial Russia in the 1990s, and it's kind of like very grim looking for the most part. So I just don't think it'd be my type of game to jump in on.
No.
Yeah. All right. We have a couple. Oh, and it is $9.99 US. We have a couple student games next. First is Crystal Call.
Run, dash, blast, and slide your way through challenging environments in this fluid and fast-paced first-person speedrunner.
So this is, of course, free. And it... yeah, this looks fun. It's kind of like those, let me see, remember those Halo, like, slide run type of courses? That's what this reminds me of. So those kind of formed, this genre, basically, of just, parkour runners. Looks pretty fun.
Like, we've just like been thrown into a world of colour after seeing all that grey. It looks really nice. Looks quite polished.
Yep. SMU Guildhall, if you ever look, they have quite a few games. Well, let me see. They now have 10? Yeah, they've got 10 games. Oh, wow. So everything from Tex-Mex to Trikaya. So they've got a lot of neat games to check out, and they are all free. I think that's just policy. So, our next title, also a student game, is Curse That Magic Cat.
Oh my god, that thumbnail. Magnus the Wizard has cursed you, turning you into a cat. Lift your curse and take your revenge by meowing, hiding, destroying things, and collecting spell books to break the spell. Curse That Magic Cat is a lighthearted single-player game made by students at SMU Guildhall.
So it's kind of like a stealth game where you're a cat and you're just destroying things and they're collecting spell books. Oh, I love it. I love the way it looks. This is amazing.
Yeah, they definitely nailed the aesthetic. This is just really cute. And you're just running around destroying vases and stuff. You can definitely see, in some ways you can tell that it is a student game. There's a little bit of things of polish that I feel like a non-student game they would have had time to do more with, but it looks fantastic. Yeah.
14-week dev cycle with the small student team.
That's
nice.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Well, yeah, I feel like I haven't accomplished much. 14 weeks, holy crap.
That's incredible.
That is incredible. But yeah, and it's mostly positive. It's super cute. Yeah, and SMU Guildhall continues to prove themselves on Steam just by putting out decent games.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely know. I'm excited to see what the students do in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, they have 3 games slated to release later in 2021, so we shall see. All right. Thursday, January 7th, we have Street Cleaner, the video game.
From the dark streets of San Diego to the deepest depths of the criminal underworld, control the street cleaner as he takes down outlaw scum in the search of justice.
So Street Cleaner, I believe, is he's actually like a musician or a DJ in San Diego. And so this is like a video game version of him. So that's part of how they advertised it, was like it's his music. That's in this game as well. A chiptune artist.
The character models are so awful.
Yeah.
They are aggressively retro.
Like even some retro looks better.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day they didn't look this bad. Not all of them, at least.
Yeah.
And there's so much like the main character blue on blue background. Like
yeah, they need some outlines to kind of make them pop a bit more, because they're kind of hard to see. Also, I was like, okay, so this is by a San Diego studio and it's set in San Diego. And I was looking around, I was like, okay, there's the highway lined with palm trees. That's pretty San Diego. And there's a lot of the rest of it, like, where is this supposed to be?
I mean, have you not been in the sewers of San Diego? Clearly,
that's just true. I don't normally crawl in sewers. That is not something I have done yet. Oh yeah, the broken kind of chain link fence with palm trees. Yeah, okay, that's pretty San Diego. But yeah, so it kind of interesting. I lived in San Diego for a year and a half. Beautiful city, by the way. It's less exciting now. This is set in the 80s in San Diego, which was notoriously dangerous. But it's a really like quiet bedroom kind of city with nice beaches. Yeah.
So this is 15% off and it's £9.68. I don't know if that's a price worth paying. I'm not sure.
The controls would have to be real good. Mm-hmm. Like this would have to be a very solid, smooth feeling game to justify it to me, because right now looks alone like, no, I want to go near this.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, the folks, it does have a 92% positive reviews. They only have 13 reviews so far though, and apparently the soundtrack's great because people bought this game just to get the music. So yeah, all right. But they are not selling the soundtrack separately.
There's no bundle. There's no Justin bundle.
There's no Justin bundle. It's a real disappointment. All right. Our next title. Oh, and it's 15% off, $12.74. That's how much it is. Yep. Our next title is Press Any Button by Eugene Zubko.
This video game realized how boring it had been and now is trying its best to fix that.
So this is apparently developed by someone who can't draw game assets, and he can't compose music, and he knows nothing about game design, but he still made a game. So
yeah, they've done more than I ever have.
Same.
It seems to be going for like different gameplay, but sort of in the same space as Undertale.
Yeah, so it's like one of those games that's not quite what it seems, sort of thing.
Yeah, I strongly suspect that is the case.
Although I just wish it did look better though. That's the only thing. It's very difficult. It's not exactly the nicest game to look at. And even with things like Undertale and everything, it still kind of looks kind of nice, you know what I mean? It had its style like similar to this, but it's still like I felt that looked a lot better.
There's a few aspects of this that I'm actually looking at it going, that's actually kind of cute and clever. Like I'm watching some like magnet mechanics, scales mechanics, and the little drop down games going like, that was actually clever.
There's also like filling water, like as it's raining, you fill up little cups with water. There's a lot of creativity here.
Yeah, man. If I hope someday down the road there's a polish to this, because this would have been like a really good like. If I would have ran into this on Newgrounds, I would have been fine. Like one of those games in the day, but it's and I mean, granted, this is still free. So
yeah, it is free. Just a thing there. Press any button is free, so you can check it out.
So it's a good first early attempt, and I would be excited with more experience to see what they could do.
Yep. Yeah, but it is 98% positive with 53 reviewers. Of course, I think people are less likely to leave a bad review if it was free.
It's true.
That's true. All right. Our next title is Wetware.
Explore the interplays between AI ethics and consciousness in the shoes of a researcher tasked to hack an enemy drone to win a war.
I like the look of this, and this is our first episode out of 4. So I'm guessing this episode is free. I'm gonna guess that the next 3 episodes they're gonna charge for. This is like to get people interested, I guess. It looks like really good. You know, the 3D art and everything.
Yeah,
really unique style.
It's kind of like point and click ish kind of game.
So the tags are artificial intelligence, philosophical, experimental, hacking, choose your own adventure, time management, multiple endings, cute, first person. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's weird. It's so weird that I don't have much to say about it besides it looks unique and interesting. And it's free. So no harm in trying.
It's true.
So interesting. It seems that you work every day and you get like a payroll, and there's like, so you have a bunch of tasks to do each day. That's interesting. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I wish that came across more in the actual trailer. Like some of the trailers that we've watched today, there's not really explained properly about the game. I feel like we've been like, or how it plays at least, or something. It's very. I wish developers wouldn't do that, because it's like I want to know what I'm supposed to be doing in the game and how it plays, so I can. I'm not just, if I'm going to pick up something, even if it's free, I mean, that's your time that they're using. So I want to know how it plays and what I'm doing, this, that, and the other.
Yep. And reading the, let me see. Yeah, even the about this game section doesn't really lay out the mechanics too much, but
yeah,
it's interesting. It's got a neat style, and it looks like it deals with, mechanization and AIs and such, which is kind of neat. Sort of futurism topics. I was noticing that I think there's been 4 or 5 games that have been free on this list, which is a lot of free games this week. Right, but yeah, Wetware, it is free, so if it interests you, check it out. And our final game of this week, comes from Friday, January 8th, and it is Bacon Rebellion.
Do you ever want to just relax and slaughter something? Well, lucky for you, the pigs have gone mad. They're destroying everything, so grab your trusty double-barreled friend and put an end to this bacon rebellion.
This is like those, one of those Flash game websites, the one with you have zombies. It's like one of those types of games.
Yeah.
It looks a lot nicer. Got some pretty fluid animation going on. And apparently you can throw watermelon bombs, and you basically just paint the ground red. My word.
It's like 30% of it. It's only £2.09, so it's it's priced well enough, I think.
Yep. $2.79. The developer is Norris Amatnieks, who is a developer from Latvia.
They're seeing the features: normal mode, 1 HP mode, Steam leaderboard, Steam achievements, 15 weapons, 35 plus perks, 10 plus power-ups, and 25 unlockable hats.
Not bad, especially for such a cheap game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have too much to critique it about. It seems to be doing what it wants to be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is Bacon Rebellion. And with that's all of our games this week. So, before we get to our best games of 2020, what were your best games of this week? Hard to decide. Anyone ready?
Yeah, I could probably go for one.
Okay.
So the Gravulse, the very first one that we took a look at, the portal like, that one was definitely one I added to my wish list for the week. I like puzzle games, so yeah, the Gravulse would sit up there. This wasn't really a strong week for me in games. I do like the ones that came out of the SMU Guildhall. The Curse That Magic Cat would be kind of an honorable mention on that. And then the other one that I'm like, I'd probably play it is Death Ski. Because it just looked quick and fun. But yeah, it's my game of the week gonna have to be the Gravulse.
Yep, this was definitely the 3 holiday week. So
yeah. And like for me, I think like the one that it's one that I probably wouldn't end up picking up, but I definitely would enjoy someone like playing and watching them play. Is Eggnog Incorporated. It's I just want to know. I want to know what's this evil shady company doing. So yeah, I want to know.
Who's trying to corner the eggnog market? Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it. I did find the cat game super adorable.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I agree with Tom. It's not been had a few gems, but nothing that's really like interested me particularly.
Yeah, you know what games I ended up putting on my wish list? It was when we were summarizing what was the best of 2020, and then I was just like, oh, gotta add that one, because it's like, oh, I forgot about this one. You guys were bringing it up, and it was like, oh, adding that one.
Yep.
The retrospective, the honorable mentions, yeah. So, because I think most of interest to me on this list is probably OMORI, which I think it's mostly just the backstory, and I'm just really curious, like, what they end up doing with it. Like, is the way to save all these kids to, like, hide them in a giant customized purse? I don't know. I'm really curious if there is any product placement, or if it's just about the various characters that they've drawn over time. So, yeah. So, I'm really curious. And so, we now coming to our best games of 2020. I'm really curious what you two have in store. So, starting out, let me see. I started with Rhodey last time, so let's start with Tom. Tom, what is your number 3 game of 2020?
My number 3 game of 2020 goes to a puzzle game that I still haven't beaten. It frustrates the daylights out of me, but I still thought it was very, very good and well done. A game by the name of Filament.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yep, this game that our friend We Have turned me on to, and I still struggle with this one, but it's so well done. There's so much logic and puzzle and everything going on to it. Because it came out in 2020, is why it made my top list. It's really well done. It's difficult, it's challenging, and I like puzzle games. I do.
Yeah, I actually forgot about this one, but yeah, I do remember seeing Za play this game, and it's on my wish list now, because I'm down for puzzle games every now and then. Sometimes they leave me frustrated, and but the nice thing is you can always put them down, and sometimes you come back and have a brilliant revelation. You feel like a genius. So nice. All right, Rhodey, what is your number 3?
So definitely this year has been a mood for me. I've just been wanting to play kind of a lot of games that just make me want to zone out, sort of thing, or just just completely relax. So that is definitely reflected in my top 3. So the first game at number 3 is Merchant of the Skies.
Merchant. Oh yes.
Yep.
I love this game. It's like I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did, but it was just like there was like a nice story involved, and you're like transporting goods from one place to the other, but also you've got to like explore the map, and you like bump into these like mythical creatures on the way, and they task you with things, but there's no like timers on it or anything. There's not really like a sort of fail state. If you run out of fuel or something, you'll get like picked up by you get rescued basically by one of these bigger ships, and they'll charge you, or you'll lose some of your merchandise. But yeah, it's like really. It's really good, and the dev continue to update it for a bit. He wanted to put like certain things in, but he's also now working on like his next game. But yeah, I love this game.
And it keeps getting patched. So they just recently added the turtle ship patch, so you can use a turtle ship, and then yeah, they've got all these
and improved production lines, because they was having problems like you set up a production line and sometimes they would just like not drop off some of the merchandise or something. It was very strange. But yeah, he's fixed that. It's all debugged and everything. So yeah, it's all good.
And we have Zawa's kind enough to give his input. So his number 3 was Pedestrian, number 2 was Spiritfarer, and number 1 was Carto. Really? You really liked Carto. I'm glad I have it on my wish list then. Okay. All right, so my number 3. So my number 3 is probably, well, yeah, I'm just going to go with it. Golf with your friends. So in no way am I saying that this game is perfect, but it's just like the modding scene is just so fantastic. Like I've had 2 friends who've made modded courses that we've run through. The amount of like courses that they have available to you, just the general good feel of the physics. Yeah, there's bugs. Yeah, there's definitely issues. It's not a perfect game, but I have played, how many hours? I've played, only 27 hours of this, but it's 27 great hours with 6 other people. So altogether, that's like, a couple hundred hours. So, yeah, I feel like I've played this a lot longer than I thought. But yeah, Golf with Your Friends is my number 3. All right, RadioTom, what is your number 2?
Due to the fact of how much fun I had playing this with friends, much in your vein of golf with your friends, it's one that I was actually surprised made my top 3. It's gotten a little bit overhyped at times, but God, I've had so much fun with this. Is Phasmophobia. The good old horror game, because it's one of the first times in a long time that I really enjoyed a horror game, and the voice communication losing and especially when the voice chat goes down when a hunt is going on. Oh man, it just atmosphere and everything in that, it was really well done. I've had a blast playing this with friends. So yeah, it has to be Phasmophobia.
It's such an accomplishment to make a truly scary multiplayer horror game. Yeah. As well. Like that's hard to do. Because normally as soon as you have multiple players in it, it just kind of eliminates the scare factor. But the fact that they were able to successfully maintain that atmosphere and even enhance it with more players, it's a lot of credit.
Yeah, I didn't think a multiplayer horror game would actually work out in a horror sense, and it does. It absolutely does.
Yeah, but last year was let me see, Monster High was the competitive dating sim, like multiplayer dating sims, and their sequel came out this year as well. So sometimes throwing multiplayer and stuff that doesn't work, it's a great way to make a new genre. All right, Rudy, what is your number 2?
So my number 2, I definitely couldn't leave this off my list for this year. It's Assemble with Care.
Assemble with Care. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, this game came along at the right time for me, definitely. It was just so relaxing. The voice acting was great, the music was calm, and it was just like taking things apart and like fixing them, putting them back together is just like was really just that mechanics was just really nice, and the artwork is just like really beautiful as well, and like very calming, and the narrative was just so lovely as well. It's like as you're fixing things, you're also helping people with their relationships with like maybe there's a strange daughter and a father, or sisters, they're not getting along anymore, so you're helping them as well with their relationships. So it's great.
That is really cool.
The only issue I have with it just wasn't long enough.
Yeah, just too short. They did add a new puzzle, but yeah, I don't know if they've got additional updates since then. So
no. They've recently brought out another game which I'll be interested in playing, just because what they've done here, but I don't think it is as kind of like as slick as that game was.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
It definitely, Alba, yeah, their other game, Alba, definitely doesn't have the same beautiful aesthetic that Assemble with Care has going for it. Oh, right. So yeah, my number 2 is actually a 2019 game that had several major updates in 2020, and I played through those updates. And that is Children of Morta. I was really excited when I saw this game in 2019. It just like seemed just out of this world, beautiful pixel art, and it was. And I love roguelike. So it's like, oh, this is all great. What I didn't expect going into this roguelike was to have an extremely tender story about a family going through hell on earth, and and even though all these horrible things happen around and to this family, they just kind of, they're the Bergsons. They stick together, they take care of each other, and there's just these beautiful little vignettes. Like, you come back from a dungeon run, and you get to see this beautiful vignette of, like, an older sibling teaching a younger sibling how to build something or do something new, or a husband comforting his wife about the future. It's just so beautiful. Like, there's just so many little vignettes, and this roguelikes aren't normally a narrative-heavy game, and this one was. So beautiful. Also, it's unique in that it's the only game I've ever played that was developed in Iran, and it's got a lot of references to Persian culture and Persian aesthetic and artistry. It's just very, very, very unique. Like, it has this sort of fantasy that I've just never seen before, and that was very enjoyable. But yeah, and every single one of the characters. So they added a new character this year, and they added a bunch of new builds, and they added New Game Plus, which I'm playing through New Game Plus. I've gotten every achievement except 2 of the single player achievements. And yeah, I'm so excited. This year they're going to be coming out with an expansion and online multiplayer, so I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, it's a fantastic game. I didn't expect to like shed tears while playing a roguelike. It was a new evolution for me. So yeah, that is Children of Morta, number 2. And I know it's shocking it's not my number 1 with how much I've gushed about it. But no, it's not my number 1. All right, so RadioTom, your game of the year is.
You mean my type and juicy. Oh, wrong way.
Tight and juicy. Damn,
Hades. My God, Hades is such a good game.
Hades? Yeah.
Yeah, I've got I just picked it up this week, and I've already got 33.4 hours in it.
Holy crap.
And I just escaped for the 10th time in a row this morning, and so which actually finished out the main quest storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, it's so good. It's so good. I almost did a picks 4 through 2 for this because Hades was going to be an obvious number 1. I'm still kind of on a high from it. Going to be really a game of last year, but this was for games that came out in 2020. That's what this list is. So
fight me.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is I've listened to some people gush about this game on multiple podcasts. And what's really fascinating is, unlike most games that deal with Greek gods, this one deals with the family dynamic of the Greek gods, which is something that you see in the Odyssey and the Iliad and such. And it's just like this super screwed up family that really loves each other.
I really loves each other in a
really messed up way. It's just strange.
But this has so much more charm to it and everything going on, and it's the voiceover's fun. The dear God, the action is solid. If there was ever a game that deserved a tight and juicy control label, this is it. It's such a smooth game. It's so good. Yeah, I could gush about this, and it's weird that I already put it on a list, and I've only played it this week, so I don't know if I'm riding a new game high on it. But I don't think so. I really like this game.
It was really a contender in the Game Awards as like one of the few indie games that was up there. So I'm pretty sure your opinion isn't far off.
Yeah, and I mean you get to pet the pup, like petting Cerberus, like dear God, come on. You get to go pet a puppy.
All right, and now Rhodey, your game of the year.
This was tough. This was really tough. But I decided that my game of the year was going to go to Littlewood.
Ah.
Oh, whoops. One word. There we go, Littlewood.
So, it was another one of those games that I just, could not put down. And I had to, try and get every single, achievement for it. And I just really liked locking all the sort of stories for the characters. And, I don't know, it was just, I had so much fun with it. And it was kind of a shame when I sort of finished everything and I was just left with oh, there's nothing else to do. Oh no, have I finished the game? And it was kind of disappointing that I'd finished it. But yeah, it's when you get to sort of the endings, towards the end, you're kind of running out of things to do. So I think that and of course when you unlock 2 of the zones, there isn't much to do in those either. So I feel that the developer could have done a little bit more with it, done a little bit more. It had been in early access. I feel just to finish those sort of ending zones, he could have spent a little bit more time in early access for. So, but loved it, absolutely loved it.
A lot of folks kind of looked at this game and go oh, it's another Stardew Valley, but it's clearly not. It's got a lot of extra going on here. Yeah, completely. It's it's a nice story. It's a nice story, and I do hope that the developer continues to work on it a bit more. I just seen one of my friends has played it today, has just gotten into it, and they've not put it down either. The infection spreads.
Yeah.
Yeah, Littlewood. That is a fantastic pick for this year. All right. It actually reminds me of the one AAA game that released without controversy, and I think that is Oh no, I'm forgetting. Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing was the one that 99% of all the media, all the news around that game has been positive. Yeah. So
just don't have
there's been a couple negative stories from it, but in general, I feel like it's one of the few AAA games that hasn't really had too much bad stuff going on with them. Just their online gameplay is terrible. Their online, trying to get to 2 people in the same island can be a hassle. Yeah. Anyhow, so Dewey Bears. Number 1 game. This was really difficult because I'm sure it was for both of you too, but because I played a lot of great games this year. A lot of them were from.
Mine was easy.
Oh, here was easy. Okay, Hades was easy. That's good to know. I've played a lot of good games, and a lot of them are just right up my alley. But I had to settle on one, and this one came from January 2020, and it is Temtem.
Ah.
This game, now I still have not finished this game. I'm still in process. Because I've actually, like, restarted this game, like, 3 times. Because, like, no, I want to try a different build. No, because this game just makes me want to theory craft. And, like, can I do this run more efficiently? So even though I haven't finished it, I've restarted this game 3 times. Because I'm like, you know what? I bet I could get... Because this is how I play Pokemon, too. As I start out, I'm like, oh, I bet I could beat this boss with only, like, these 2 Temtem. And I'll do fine. Anyhow, that aside... I am on to the 3rd island, and this game is just fantastic. It's continued to get updates. Temtem is kind of shown... They've taken the old, tired, worn-out formula of Pokemon, which Pokemon, to their credit, every time does some small innovation. And they've gone, and what they did is they went back to the root of Pokemon, and then just branched off on a different tree, basically. So it's still... the same. There's a lot of things that people are going to look at this and go like, wow, that's very similar. But then they go off and do just a bunch of interesting stuff, like removing RNG from combat. So it's all about the strategy. It makes you actually want to use a lot of the non-damaging skills at certain times. There's just... the world is beautiful. The performance is fantastic. The fact that you can run around with 2 players just really smoothly as in a 2-player way, it's not really suitable for an MMO environment for the most part until you get to the later game. But it's just fun that you can just duo up with you and a friend and just run through the story. That's pretty great. Later on, there becomes all the competitive stuff that opens up, and that's cool too. But I've never been big into PvP and these types of games.
Yeah.
But yeah, the collection, the sort of the lore, the fact that the world is so much more interesting. Not every character in the world, because in Pokemon, every character in the world is somehow involved with Pokemon. Well, in this one, there are characters who do other things, like, oh, I'm a pilot, or I'm a farmer, or I have other tasks and other things I do that don't involve Temtem, and so it just makes for a much more real feeling world. And the quests are really interesting too. So it's just there's been a lot of variety. It's just good. I have to sing their praises. Temtem is a great game, and they've shown that there are really 2 players now in the monster hunting, in the monster collecting genre. Yep.
I have to say, though, it is still in early access.
Yeah, this should have been on your first list. If that was the rule, man.
Was it? Oh, it's still in early access.
That's what we did.
I completely forgot it was on.
That's what the first list was for. That's why Not for Broadcast didn't make my second list.
I'm
actually
darn
cranky.
it. You're actually cranky. I didn't even realize it's because it's got that other box below it. Darn it. I didn't see early access.
Where's my table? I need to flip the table.
All right. Let me see. Boop boop. Boop boop doo. Let me see.
It's okay, dude, you liked it. It's fine.
I did like it, but it is early access. So I'm looking at what other games I played. Nope. Oh, I'm trying to remember what the name of the other game is. That one didn't come out in 2020. Damn it. Why did I not play any games that came out in 2020? Boo. I guess Fell Sail's up there for me. Yeah, okay. Wow, I totally screwed this up. Well, Fell Seal Arbitus Mark, which had a major update this year. 2020.
I mean, doesn't 2020 feel more appropriate ending like that, though?
It does, doesn't it? My word.
Right.
Totally screwed up.
Something about it, like a screw up when it comes to 2020 feels so much better, though.
I literally just assumed that Temtem was out of early access because it's so polished. It's got so many releases done. So I'm like, oh well. Well, okay. So out of early access number 1 would-be Fail Sale Arbiter's Mark. It came out. I didn't want to have this one as my number one originally because it originally came out in 2019. But it did have a major expansion in 2020, the Monsters and Missions pack, where you can actually like collect monsters in this game. You're seeing a theme here, aren't you? So you can actually get monsters to join your team, and there's a bunch of new mission packs. And this game is fantastic. I mentioned Fae Tactics, which is another game in the same genre. But this one, I love. The story's great. The characters are fantastic. And yeah, wind is totally taken out of my sails. But you know what? That's 2020. Bandui from podcast. Yes, get on the sweep. All right. Well, with that was our awards list. My word. Okay.
Next week we're going to talk about what games we're looking forward to coming out, and
yeah, that's next week. So I'm looking forward to that.
He's looking forward to Temtem.
I guess I am looking forward to Temtem coming out, even though I've played it for a year. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Temtem coming out. Well, I guess we know what my 2021, one of my top 3 in the 2021 is going to be. First, you asked me now this. Yep. I can't believe. I feel like I'm suffering from the Mandela effect now, because I'm like, I'm sure it came out of early access. Oh well. That's life. But thank you very much, chat, for joining us for our special retrospective of 2020. It really was. It wasn't the best year, but for indie games, I think it's been one of the best years yet for indie games, 2020 and 2021. Looking at the stuff that's lined up to release in 2021, we're going to talk more about this next week. There's a lot of awesome games that are going to be coming out this next year. Backbone, hopefully Backbone comes out next year. The Raccoon Detective in Vancouver game, that one looks great.
Binding of Isaac expansion coming out in March. The Medium coming out next month.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, once and next week we're going to be able to have a fully collected together thoughts about what we think those games are going to be that we're most hyped for. So I'm looking forward to that, because we don't usually look far into the future for releases, and this will be fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So, with that, hello chat. Thank you for joining us. We have Za, Godless Weeb, anyone else in our chatters? And of course, we thank our lurkers too. You don't have to chat to enjoy the show. We appreciate you all the same. So, with that, Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye. Please like and subscribe on YouTube.
Yeah. Take care, everyone. Take care. And of course, you can check out TheRadioTom on his YouTube channel.
Twitch.tv/Wellendor. That's where I'm at going forward. Yep.
Really?
Yep. What? This is Wellies. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's cute.
Right. I'm just claiming to be Welly now.
Okay.
I'm not associated with this podcast anymore after the debacle that was today.
But yeah, RadioTom is a fantastic channel about board game reviews, and they're very entertaining. So you should check them out.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks, Rody, for remembering.
Yeah. And with that, bye-bye.
Of course, check my channel out.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm all flustered. Okay, so yeah, and of course check out Rody Pie stream. She finally finished the Birder by Numbers. Finally, so you got more stuff to. What are you going to be streaming next?
I don't know yet. It's going to be point and click games, definitely. I'm going to try and finish like two a month. That's the aim, because I want to. I have so many point and click games to play.
Yep. Ta-ta!